I saved the whole sect by playing badly. Chapter 34 Woohoo, take off. For Yi Qiao's sincere suggestion just now, no one paid attention to her. Yi Qing'an even chose to draw his sword on the spot, and slash towards the barrier, but in the end, twice the sword energy came back, making the corner of his mouth bloody. Brother Yi, senior brother Yi. Yun Qiu supported the other party, his flustered lips were tightened, and tears fell from his eyes. Are you okay? Yi Qing'an shook his head, unwilling to give up, drew his sword and slashed towards the barrier again. This time he bent over and spat out blood. His face paled a little. Yun Qiu immediately took out a silk handkerchief to wipe the blood on him, and the two looked at each other affectionately, and the atmosphere became ambiguous. If you ignore the casual cultivators in the enchantment who are going crazy, it can only be said that people's sorrows and joys are not interlinked. Some people fall in love, while others are anxious for their own lives. Elegant, so elegant. Yi Qiao, who was watching the excitement outside the barrier, sighed while applauding. As expected of the comprehension version of Long Ocean, he vomited blood and did not forget to maintain his composure. How did the heroine and the others come out in the original plot? Oh, it all depends on Yi Qing'an. The male protagonist is a master of customs clearance. After exhausting his spiritual power and being backlashed, he vomited blood madly, and finally took Yun Qiu out of the secret realm reluctantly. This can be said to be the key to warming up the relationship between the two. Yun Qiu was so moved that she thought that only this kind of careless man was worthy of her admiration. Yi Qing'an is capable of opening the barrier, but it doesn't mean he won't be injured, and under the premise that the secret realm will be closed in 2 hours, everyone is in a hurry. Song Hansheng can't calm down anymore. Yi Qiao, I know you have a way. With so many of us, it's impossible for you to ignore death, right? Is this how the elders of the Changming sect taught you? At this time, Song Hansheng never forgot to kidnap her with morality. But Yi Qiao has always been adhering to the fact that as long as she has no morals, no one can kidnap herself. She sat cross-legged outside the barrier, with a fake smile. If you can't get out, what can I do? Song Hansheng, where's the magic weapon of your Changming Zong? He watched her use that thing to explode the monster's belly. Then presumably this enchantment is not a problem, right? Yi Qiao rubbed her chin. It's gone. It's all used. Moreover, the bombs are all physical damage, and the damage caused by magic damage such as enchantment is really not very big. Yi Qiao's words made Song Han feel ashamed. Unwilling to give up, he took out many talismans from the mustard bag and tried to smash them on the barrier, to see if they could be smashed. As a result, without exception, they were all backlashed back. Looking at the busy people, Yi Qiao began to give them serious advice. If you can't finish the work, do it tomorrow. Maybe you won't have to do it tomorrow if you die. Shut up, Yi Qiao! Exclamation mark. Can you die without mentally harming someone with words? Yi Qiao's nonsense speech almost choked people to death. Song Hansheng took a deep breath, and looked at Yi Qiao maliciously. If we can't get out, do you think you won't be labeled as desperate? Unexpectedly, Yi Qiao was worse than him. Then you don't want to live. After you die, it doesn't matter if I get labeled as a dead man. Come on, hurt each other. Obviously, Song Hansheng had nothing to do with Yi Qiao's bad-mannered speech, and in the end he was suffocated. She looked calm, and Yi Qing'an chose to negotiate with her as a last resort. How many spirit stones do you want? Yi Qiao calmly grabbed the KFC huddled up in her hand. How much do you think the life of Jianzong is worth? Yi Qing'an was choked, and finally exhaled slowly. 100,000 top-grade spirit stones. Yi Qiao didn't speak, but stared at him with a smile, and said in a drawn-out tone, "Oh tilde, so the noble sword-seeking sect's personal inheritance is only worth top-grade spirit stones." Even Yi Qing'an's indifferent expression that has remained unchanged for thousands of years was broken for a moment because of her words. How could there be such a person in the world? Enough is enough. Does Yi Qiao know how to write these 4 words? Apparently Yi Qiao didn't know. She even started an auction. Is there any higher bidder in Yue Qingzong? Yi Qiao waited for a long time for no one to answer, and she drew her tone again. Oh tilde, the noble Yuqing sect's personal heirloom is not worth 100,000 spirit stones. Song Hansheng. He has never felt that the word, oh, is so yin and yang. You, oh, a hammer. In comparison, Fu Xiu was richer. Seeing the time passing bit by bit, Song Hansheng finally couldn't hold back, and asked the price, 15 top-grade spirit stones. I don't have any more. He gritted his teeth, wishing to turn back time and get away from Yunk. If she hadn't insisted on taking this path, how could she have met the big monster in the nascent soul stage? If she hadn't been greedy for the spiritual fruit, how could she have touched the surrounding enchantment? Yi Qiao knew that the sheep would be bald if there was too much wool. She clapped her hands in moderation, and calmly took out a blank piece of paper from the mustard bag. Do you want to write a document? Receipt. There are also written records. Song Hansheng held his breath, watching Yi Qiao push the letter from the barrier. He could only press his handprint. Yi Qing'an pressed his fingerprints together with him in silence. Song Hansheng felt weirdly balanced. This is probably a kind of thought of, I am not alone in this unlucky situation, which relieved his painful heart a lot. Yi Qiao offended the 2 sects in one breath, but Yi Qiao didn't look guilty at all. Shi Shiren stood up. Then let's go. Why go? Duan Hengdao almost thought she was playing tricks on those people. Unexpectedly, Yi Qiao was confident. Catch monsters, isn't that what I said at the beginning? How could she still remember such a thing? Mu Chongxi always feels that the scripts that my junior sister and others take are different. Hey. Isn't everyone in the great secret realm able to get by, trying to survive and wait for the secret realm to dissipate, and return to the sect safely? Who would be free to explore the monster's lair at a time like this? Facts have proved that Yi Qiao can. Moreover, she really successfully found the hiding place of the 2 big monsters. The 2 monsters were both at the Golden Core. Although Mu Chongxi was able to defeat them, he kept Yi Qiao's instructions in mind. He resisted the urge to fight and watched Yi Qiao's daily life. The little junior sister squatted down sneakily, and when the 2 monsters were asleep, she grabbed a stone and threw it at them. After sneak attacking Yi Qiao, he ran away. Ta Qingfeng quickly changed positions, jumped twice, away from the sharp claws of the monster. The 2 monsters roared and screamed angrily, but Yi Qiao didn't feel it was enough. During the escape, he kept provoking the monsters on the roadside. Duan Hengdao, who was waiting at the spot, saw Yi Qiao rushing towards him, and his heart ached. A bit of a bad feeling. Yi Qiao. Yi Qiao didn't turn her head back. Run. Duan Hengdao subconsciously ran with her, but he didn't dare to look back, because the movement was already scary. It seems that there is something terrifying, which makes people's scalp tingle. Why run? He couldn't help asking. Yi Qiao calmly responded to him. I am followed by 2 monsters at the Golden Core stage, 6 monsters at the late stage of Foundation establishment, and 8 monsters at the middle stage of Foundation establishment. Duan Hengdao. Why are there so many monsters chasing you? What the hell did you do, Yi Qiao? If it wasn't for the wrong timing, he would have wanted to become Master Ma and grab Yi Qiao's clothes and scream. Duan Hengdao ran halfway, and found that Mu Chongxi and Yi Qiao had already run in front of him. He grows grass for a while. The secret of your Changming sect is that whoever runs fast is worthy of becoming a personal successor, right? All of them move like rabbits, they are all masters of running. The three of them ran in the direction of the barrier with sparks and lightning all the way, and the moment a golden core stage monster rushed up, Yi Qiao rushed into the barrier where Yun Q and the others were. Living people are allowed to enter outside the barrier, but monsters are not within the allowed range. A group of monsters that were blocked outside began to rage impotently, smashing crazily on the barrier of the enchantment, and the sound of rubbing made one's scalp numb. What did you do? When Song Hansheng inside the barrier saw Yi Qiao rushing in, his head was about to explode. Did you lure all those monsters here? I saw two Jindan stage monsters frantically clapping their paws and bumping into the barrier, attacking wave after wave. It's hard not to make people suspect that Yi Qiao has done something inferior to beasts. Yi Qiao shrugged. It's nothing. You wait until they have almost consumed the barrier, and then take action. Be good at using everything around you. She firmly believes that as long as the hatred value is enough, even monsters can't help but shoot her to death. Haven't you seen that those monsters at the outer door are already jumping on the verge of madness? Escaped. Duan Hengdao, who had been chased all the way, did not recover, and was in a trance. He felt that the time he spent with Yi Qiao was more exciting than going out for a year. Yi Qing'an looked at the monsters around outside and guessed her intention. Are you trying to use these monsters to break the barrier? It's not impossible. It's just, shouldn't normal people think about how to break the barrier with their own efforts? You are so opportunistic. Yi Qing'an stared at her with an incomprehensible look. You will stumble in the future. I don't believe that any loss is a blessing. Yi Qiao also replied, if you want to eat it, you can eat it. We won't eat it anyway. Why do you have to work hard when you can be opportunistic? Yi Qing'an stopped talking. Her brows and eyes were indifferent, and she just felt that she was stubborn and did not have the slightest integrity of Yun Q. Seeing this, Yi Qiao probably guessed it, and he began to compare himself with Yun Q again in his heart. She was too lazy to exchange these unnutritive topics with the male lead, so she turned her head and asked Duan Hengdao, do you have the kind of net for catching monsters? Have. Yi Qiao breathed a sigh of relief, smiled and licked the corners of her lips at him. Have you ever played fishing master? When he was away from home, Duan Hengdao had all kinds of magic weapons. He took out the golden animal trap and scratched his head in bewilderment. What is a good fisherman? It's casting a net and catching fish. After Yi Qiao finished explaining, she stared at the enchantment and touched her chin. How is your head? Duan Hengdao. Very good. This is not bragging. As qualified weapon cultivators, they always need to throw magic weapons to monks who need them in battle, so in terms of accuracy, he is definitely one of the best. I can rest assured that. Yi Qiao murmured. A group of monsters crazily pounced on the barrier, and the power of the originally thick barrier weakened a bit under the slaps and attacks. At this time, it is becoming thinner at a speed visible to the naked eye. It's about to break. Mu Chongxi reminded in a low voice. The moment the barrier shattered silently, all the monks rushed out at the speed of an arrow. Just kidding, the secret realm is about to be closed in less than an hour. After Yi Qiao collected the papers, she skillfully started to escape. Woohoo! Take off tilde. Yi Qiao did not learn in vain by stepping on the breeze, and chased a series of monsters behind her, running in the sky and crawling on the ground. The scene was particularly spectacular. The place where she ran was called a place where thousands of mountains and birds flew away, and thousands of paths and people disappeared. Because she was the one who offended the monster, Duan Hengdao was safe as long as he wasn't with her, and the young man immediately followed behind and began to cast the net diligently. A group of monsters consumed most of their strength when attacking the barrier, and Yi Qiao walked around like a dog, and Duan Hengdao caught them without any effort. How can I put it? He finally understood what Yi Qiao meant by, catch monsters. Duan Hengdao murmured, so that's how it is. Is this all good for her? Deliberately angering the monsters and letting them break through the barrier, not only cheated the other two sects of spirit stones, but also wiped out the exhausted monsters along the way. So how did she know there would be an enchantment here? In terms of normal people's thinking logic. No, not right. He couldn't understand Yi Qiao from the perspective of a normal person. A normal person would just go and provoke a group of sleeping monsters, and don't forget to offend the other two sects when they go out to practice. The three of them cooperated very well, and they worked hard to bring out all the monsters before the secret realm was closed. Almost at the moment when the great secret realm disappeared, all the strange barriers around them also disappeared completely. I'll keep the monster bone for you. Considering that Duan Hengdao needs to be refined, Yi Qiao took the initiative to say. Duan Hengdao scratched his head, then you take the inner alchemy. The harvest from this trip is not insignificant. The materials for refining the weapon alone are enough for him to use for a long time. The three quickly finished sharing the loot, but Yi Qiao always felt that she seemed to have forgotten something. That's right. Where's my chicken? Monsters are not allowed outside the barrier, so where did the KFC go? Her sound was not a big one. Mu Chongxi looked around, and finally found the KFC from the top of Yi Qiao's head. Not to mention that this little guy is quite good at finding a place, nestled on Yi Qiao's head, and even vaguely planned to nest. She cracked it, pulled the KFC off, and pointed at it. Don't nest on my head. KFC pretended not to hear. Fine. These monsters can understand human language, right? Let's go. Yi Qiao calmed down, and suddenly thought, by the way, isn't that red bird still tied to the tree? Yes. Mu Chongxi looked at her puzzledly. Aren't you planning to bring it back to the sect? Yi Qiao pulled him. Let's experience the feeling of flying on a bird. In ancient times, Santa Claus rode elk, then Harry Potter rode a broom, and now they fly on birds. It's not impossible, right? Mu Chongxi. So under Yi Qiao's instigation, the two found the bird that was tied under the tree by the rope of the demon. No feeling of resistance. Duan Hengdao was more or less familiar with her outrageous behavior. He had no choice but to ask, then, let's just say goodbye. See you, Dabby. Yi Qiao was studying how to fly with a bird, and now she replied to him without raising her head. See you, Dabby. The two disappeared for 5 days in a row. If there is no accident, Qin Fanfan and the senior brother already knew about their sneaking down the mountain. Drive. Yi Qiao studied it for a while, then simply sat on it. Run. Akadori was mad. This human actually regarded it as a cart. Mu Chongxi sat on it hesitantly, always feeling that this means of transportation was a bit evil. It was enough for the red bird to be bullied by 2 humans, but in the end, the 2 of them still regarded themselves as a cart puller. The moment it flew into the sky, it began to shake left and right deliberately. Yi Qiao held on tightly to it and did not let go, but when it was about to reach the boundary of the Changming sect, Qi Niao shook even more violently. She couldn't catch it even if she wanted to, and at the moment when she was thrown off, Yi Qiao's only thought was, riding a bird really doesn't work. The moment before the 2 and the beast fell from the sky, Elder Zhao was still having friendly conversations with the personal descendants of other sects. According to Bishuazong's personal legend, Yunzhong City is said to have come for the opening of the Great Secret Realm in the past few days, but not long ago, the Secret Realm was opened ahead of schedule, and everyone was blocked at the outer door. They could only stop regretfully. Being close, I plan to drop by Changmingzong. Zhu Yu and Ming Xuan were released from the forbidden area, and at this time they were chatting with the 2 Bishui clan relatives. At this moment, something dark suddenly fell from the sky. With a bang, dust was splashed. Then, under the blank eyes of a group of people, Yi Qiao got up from the ground as if nothing had happened. Hi, second senior brother, third senior brother. Chevron _ left previous home. I saved the whole sect by playing badly. Chapter 35. People are mortal, but they cannot die. Mu Chongshi felt the embarrassment of the society's death after a long time. He lowered his head and dared not speak the whole time, for fear of being caught by Elder Zhao and hammered hard. Elder Zhao smiled sadly. I'm back. Little rabbits. Elder Zhao. The two stood up from the ground as if nothing had happened, and secretly kicked the red bird that probably threw him off. Both Bishuazong's personal bishops are girls, one named Miao Miao and the other named Si Miaoyan. Senior sister. Miao Miao pursed her lips and beeped softly. I feel that the personal inheritance of this sect is not normal. Si Miaoyan nodded with rare approval. Even though she has read countless people, she has never seen such a weird personal biography. Which sword cultivator walks well without using a sword, but sits on a bird and flies around in the sky? Elder Zhao's face distorted for a moment, and he knew what the other Zong's strange eyes were thinking without looking at him. He endured the overwhelming anger, suppressed the curse with his hands behind his back, and tried to squeeze out a friendly smile. You guys came just in time. These two are the direct descendants of the Bishui sect, so why don't you accompany them around our Changming sect? The best solution for the visit of two direct disciples is to throw them to his own family. Elder Zhao is very happy to be the hands-off shopkeeper. Seeing this, Yi Qiao looked at her nose and heart, and said yes. She was already planning how to escape from Elder Zhao's lion's roar after these two personal heirs left. After Elder Zhao left, everyone present was relieved. Si Miaoyan quietly looked at Yi Qiao several times. Before she came, she had heard that the Changming sect had recruited a new junior sister. It was said that she was accepted as a direct disciple from the outer sect. But this girl's qualifications are mediocre, and she doesn't seem to have anything special about her. I don't know if Chang Mingzong's move was completely messed up, or if there were other arrangements. You guys have come back. Ming Xuan held a dog's tail grass in his mouth, folded his hands on the back of his head. If you don't come back again, Master will rush down the mountain to arrest you personally. Zhu Yu also nodded in agreement. 5 days, you look like this. He looked at the two juniors and juniors. He was wearing regular clothes, but he didn't know where he went for a while and came back. His clothes were a little worn, especially Yi Qiao, who looked like a wilted cabbage. Zhu Yu rubbed his chin, and said slowly, did you come back from wandering outside? The layout is bigger. Is it possible that we came back from picking up trash? Yi Qiao pointed at the dead red bird that was tied up not far away. Zhu Yu was silent for a moment, strangely feeling that what she said made sense. Senior brother Zhu. When they were chatting like no one else, Miao Miao poked her head inappropriately. I want to ask you a question. Is there a kind of elixir popular in Yunzhong City recently? No. She handed Zhu Yu the strange pill in her hand, and pouted her mouth. It's this kind. This. Zhu Yu took it and stared at the pill in her hand for a moment. The yellow elixir exudes a faint fragrance, but compared with the conventional elixir, it looks more wild and uninhibited. If it weren't for the absence of cigarettes, Zhu Yu might have smoked one on the spot to express his vicissitudes and his incomprehension of the world. How did such an ugly pill become so popular in Cloud City? It's so ugly that it rivals my junior sister. Ming Xuan felt familiar. I don't think I've seen it before. Such an ugly elixir, only my junior sister can make it, right? Where? Miao Miao's eyes lit up. She really wanted to know what kind of god could make the pill so ugly, but still retain its full effect. How precise is the control of spiritual consciousness and spiritual planting? Ming Xuan laughed dryly. My junior sister made a similar one when I was practicing and playing. Yi Qiao, who was named, turned her head and noticed the elixir in Meow Meow's hand. She touched her chin, which she did not expect. You must know that before going to practice, these elixir could not be sold because of their ugly appearance. Go out. Meow Meow was slightly taken aback, but she didn't expect that a sword cultivator like her would have the dream of becoming a Dan cultivator. Yi Qiao graciously let her look at it, and finally said to Zhu Yu, "Senior brother, I'll go to Zangshu Pavilion first." Ming Xuan, who didn't want to chat with others for a long time, also hurriedly added, "I'll go too." The two immediately fled hand in hand. Zhu Yu smiled helplessly. Seeing this scene, Meow Meow couldn't help being envious. The atmosphere between you is quite good. Not all clan biography can get along well. They're all the favored sons of heaven, the future of the sect, and talent are not less open and secret, and compared with each other. To put it simply, no one looks down on anyone. She and her senior sister are one of the few who can get along harmoniously, but this is also because of Si Miaoyan's gentle temper, otherwise it would be difficult to get along well. That's not true. Mu Chongxi touched his face, a little embarrassed. We didn't get along very well before. Before Yi Qiao came, the few of them seldom communicated with each other, and occasionally went down the mountain to practice together. The present unity is entirely due to Yi Qiao's amazing social skills. Ellipsis. As the saying goes, people's sorrows and joys are not connected. Yi Qiao hadn't sat down to take a breath as soon as she came back. She was called by Elder Yu in the library pavilion to help copy the books. Being squeezed as soon as she came back, Yi Qiao couldn't help sighing. The purpose of her coming to Zangshu Pavilion is actually to study carefully the mental method and talisman book given by Song Hansheng, and compare the talisman of Changmingzong by the way, and try to see if it can be improved. In the end, he was caught by Elder Yu. Compared to Yi Qiao's busyness, Ming Xuan was more contented. He randomly found a book of talismans, flipping through it. Elder Yi Qiao recalled the feeling of overdrawing her spiritual consciousness before, and with the attitude of asking if she didn't understand, she said, "Will Fushu get a nosebleed when drawing a talisman for the first time?" "Yes." Guanxi Yu answered very neatly, raised his eyelids to glance at Ming Xuan, and added, "Of course, very rarely." Yi Qiao belonged to the type of nosebleed for the first time. She touched the tip of her nose, and asked humbly, "Then who wouldn't do this?" She still remembers the feeling of bloody nose at that time. Your second senior brother doesn't know how to draw talismans at the age of 7, and was sent to our sect at the age of 10. There is no such thing as overdraft of spiritual consciousness in him. Yu Guanxi glanced at her, implying, it can be understood that this is the talent of geniuses. The second senior brother really has nothing to say about the talent of Fu Dao. Yi Qiao said every word with grief and indignation. I hate the gifted dog the most in this life. What I hate the most is that I am not a gifted dog. Steward Yu. You bastard, don't treat me as an outsider at all. Chevron _ left previous home the whole sect by playing badly. Chapter 36 and quote, when the time comes, don't do anything to me, unquote. If it was someone else, no matter how jealous they would be, they wouldn't say it out, but this girl was fine, and she spoke quite confidently. Ming Xuan, who was inexplicably dubbed the talented dog, couldn't laugh or cry, and urged, "Come on, the cafeteria will be open soon." As soon as Yi Qiao heard that dinner was about to be served, Yi Qiao immediately sped up the movements of her hands a little. She was held in the library by Elder Yu to copy books before, but she is already very proficient now. There are many alchemy prescriptions recorded in the fragments. After transcribing them for so long, Yi Qiao can already memorize them fluently. Before leaving after transcribing the books, she still didn't forget to take the talisman books with her to study. The two of them came late, and the cafeteria was almost full. Ming Xuan sighed at the baskets of steamed buns in the cafeteria, when will our sect's food get better? Yi Qiao is already used to eating, she is not picky at all, but it is really unbearable to eat these bland foods after going down the mountain for a long time. I don't know, she said, if it doesn't work, I'll bring you some back next time I go down the mountain. Mingxuan shook his head, you should not be able to get out now. The big contest is just around the corner, and the fourth junior brother and junior sister disappear from time to time, which almost caused Qin Fanfan to have a heart attack. This time, the master may say that it is impossible for them to slip out again. If you think about the good things. Mingxuan paused, we can go to the Bishuazong for dinner when we participate in the big competition. Their clan meals are very good, and there is a lot of meat in them. However, Yi Qiao and Ming Xuan looked at each other, and instead of being comforted, they became even hungrier. At this moment, people's sorrows and joys are interlinked. Ellipsis. After getting rid of the group of disciples, Elder Zhao found Qin Fanfan who was fishing and sleeping without stopping. He snorted, your newly recruited apprentice and Mu Chongxi are back. Qin Fanfan asked to find out who drove them down the mountain. The confinement area was locked up properly, and these two people actually had the courage to sneak down the mountain. Elder Zhao knew who was instigating it without even thinking about it. He sneered 3 times. Who else is there besides that little bastard Yi Qiao? Besides her being so courageous, who else? Before Yi Qiao came, even if Mu Chongxi was rebellious, she would not sneak out of the sect like now. Qin Fanfan couldn't make any waves because of this. He waved his hand, and said generously, people are not frivolous and arrogant young people, those children are at the age of making trouble at the moment. What are you and that child Yi Qiao getting angry at? ? Elder Zhao raised his forehead, I mean, these two people are messing around every day, and Yi Qiao is not enterprising, so what can I do if I bring Mu Chongxi to the bad? I don't do my job all day long, I don't skip classes, and I like to go down the mountain to mess around. Mu Chongxi is the only natural sword bone in the world of comprehension. Is it plausible to mess around with Yi Qiao all day long? Qin Fanfan had no objection this time and nodded thoughtfully. You are right, those children should be taken care of. He planned to find Yi Qiao to have a heart-to-heart talk, so Qin Fanfan rolled up his sleeves in the middle of the night, and sent Yi Qiao a message with the jade slip, asking her to come to the main peak. After Yi Qiao received the news, she threw the KFC on her head, and Shiren went to the main peak. Xiaoqiao. Qin Fanfan cleared his throat, and was about to pretend to reprimand the little apprentice to make her calm down, but unexpectedly, the second before Yi Qiao came in, he almost failed to break the defense on the spot. I saw the little apprentice wearing plain clothes, looking foolish, with a fire turkey on his head. Qin Fanfan hesitated to speak. Xiao Qiao, what is that on your head? Yi Qiao groaned, and poked the KFC on top of her head, bored. Ah, this is my contracted animal. Master, she asked, do you know what kind of monster this is? This. Qin Fanfan pondered for a moment when he heard the words, got up and looked through the records of strange beasts, but found no similar monsters or cubs. He was strangely silent for a moment, his eyes unconsciously fell on the chicken on top of the girl's head, and his tone was complicated. Xiao Qiao, you really contracted a turkey, right? May I ask who contracted a turkey as a contracted animal? However, catching a chicken as a contract beast is indeed something that his little apprentice can do. Chicken. After hearing that it was indeed a chicken, Yi Qiao also accepted the reality. She even reached out and shook it in the mood. Master, this is not an ordinary chicken. Qin Fanfan looked eager to hear more about it. Oh. Could it be some kind of divine beast? Yi Qiao said seriously, it's KFC. What kind of chicken is KFC? Qin Fanfan was afraid of exposing his ignorance in front of his young apprentice, so although he was puzzled in his heart, he didn't have the nerve to ask. Under Yi Qiao's serious gaze, he was afraid that the other party would see that he was ignorant, so he chose to change the subject in a dry voice. Xiao Qiao. He looked at her. Let me ask you, do you have the confidence to make it into the top 10 in this year's competition? There are more than 5 personal handed-down sword cultivators on the list of sword cultivators, and sword cultivators from all over the world will participate, which is no less than competing for the top 10 places with all talented sword cultivators of the same age in the cultivation world. Faced with this sudden topic, Yi Qiao thought that Yi Qiao was going to mess it up on the spot, and said something like, "If you don't have confidence, let me die." Unexpectedly, Yi Qiao replied naturally, "Yes." This time it was Qin Fanfan's turn to choke. "Master," Yi Qiao said with a calm tone and a smile, "let's set a small goal and work hard. How about the first competition this year?" Small goals. The first case. Did you misunderstand the small target, you bastard? Don't. He waved his hand weakly. Your master and I would never dare to make it so big. In the end, this little apprentice really dared to think. Yi Qiao shrugged. It's not illegal to dream, so what's wrong with fantasizing about it? Qin Fanfan. Makes sense. Yi Qiao had only heard of the so-called Zongmen Grand Competition, but she had never seen what it looked like, and she didn't even know the rules. She thought about it and asked, "Master, there are only 5 sects in the great competition." Parents. N. Qin Fanfan said slowly, "At that time, you will be sent to the same great secret realm together, and there must be one person in each personal transmission team with a viewing stone, who is responsible for letting the elders and monks outside the venue see what's inside." Scene. Yi Qiao's eyes widened slightly in surprise, and she repeated, "Real-time broadcast. Isn't that different from modern live broadcasts?" Yeah. Qin Fanfan nodded. He was already calm about this process. At that time, every move of all of you will be under the eyes of monks from the cultivation world. Xiao Qiao. He paused, looked at Yi Qiao who was acting like a fool, and said something mysteriously, "When the time comes, don't do anything to me." I don't know why, but there is a place where Yi Qiao is. Qin Fanfan always felt that the future days of this year's pro-bishops would be extraordinarily lively. He hoped that the group of pro-directors who had been rattled by Yi Qiao were all right. I saved the whole sect by playing badly. Chapter 37. 2 senior brothers, are they bad together? Yi Qiao expressed her innocence towards his questioning. With clear eyes, "I'm an honest person. How could I make trouble? Go and practice." Qin Fanfan laughed, waved his hand impatiently and drove the little brat away. Yi Qiao rolled away immediately. Changmingzong implements a free-range policy, practice freely, and have enough spiritual energy, but the spiritual stones are searched and searched. It's fine. Yuqingzong and Zhangjianzong are now her big clients. At that time, Yi Qiao had already figured out how to control their asking for money in the competition. Ellipsis. At the same time, Si Miaoyan hesitated for a few seconds after staying in Changmingzong for 2 days and went down the mountain, gently clenched the elixir in his hand, but still couldn't resist the curiosity in his heart. She shook off Miao Miao, trotted all the way to the medicine pavilion, panted and found the boss who had sold the pill to her, and said sincerely, "Mr. I am a disciple of the Clear Water Sect." In order to attract the other party's attention, Si Miaoyan exposed his identity and said very seriously, "I hope to meet the alchemy cultivator, can I?" The boss of the medicine pavilion hesitated for a long time, but he didn't let go. "Just kidding, that's a disciple of the Clear Water Sect, it's a ghost if you don't agree." But now it's not that he wants to, but that he can't contact the master of alchemy. Since the other party threw several bottles of unsightly pills to him for resale a few days ago, he has completely lost contact and has not heard from him. Where is he going to promise? However, This behavior of the boss of the medicine pavilion fell into the eyes of Si Miaoyan. That is, the masters are always elusive, and it is normal that they cannot be contacted. Thoughtful words are unclear. From the bottom of my heart, I made the figure of the other party taller and taller, and even began to guess whether the other party was a great power in the transformation stage. At this time, Si Miaoyan didn't know that the master she wanted to find was not because she didn't want to contact the boss of the medicine pavilion, but because she was being hanged and beaten by Elder Duan. It wasn't just Yi Qiao who was being beaten, Mu Chongxi was also with her. The competition was coming, and they had almost no spare time to go out. Yi Qiao and Mu Chongxi, as sword repairers, were beaten back and forth by Duan Yu, who taught them how to fight. After Mu Chongxi was lightly kicked away by Elder Duan, Yi Qiao licked her lips slightly, staring at Duan Yu's movements intently. As it turns out, your teacher will always be your teacher. She didn't even see how the opponent made the shot, so she was grabbed by the arm and kicked out in the same way. After being hit this time, Yi Qiao's reaction speed was obviously much faster. She quickly turned over and vacated to stabilize her figure. Perhaps she had the fluke mentality of running away if she couldn't be hit, and ran away without looking back. Duan Yu's first move really failed. Little brat. He smiled angrily. Come back. Yi Qiao shouted loudly, no. No way back. No matter how much you love, you can't go back. You'll beat me up if I go there. She was very self-aware and looked at Elder Duan warily. In the past, I appointed another beating. Duan Yu raised his eyebrows. It was obviously the first time he encountered such a way of running when he couldn't beat him. But it's useless to be fast. Duan Yu stopped Yi Qiao ahead of her next step, and kicked her lower abdomen mercilessly with his second kick. Yi Qiao couldn't dodge in time, she ran into it directly, and was kicked down from mid-air in the next second. Hitting the ground, she clutched her throbbing abdomen. Duan Yu's bitter fist followed closely. The instinct of her body allowed her to react quickly, and a carp jumped up. At the same time retreat, trying to create distance. However, Duan Yu didn't give her this chance at all. Yi Qiao just opened her legs, and then her knees hurt, her knees were bent suddenly, and she suddenly fell on the ground in embarrassment. Come again. Yi Qiao was in pain from being thrown from the ground. The girl lay on the ground and gave up, struggling completely. Give up now. Is this your limit? He also tried to arouse Yi Qiao's fighting spirit with words. Yi Qiao chose to lie flat. Elder, hit me. I can't run and I can't run, and the only thing I can do is to be hammered. And for some reason, she always felt that Duan Yu came here specially to beat her up today. The two stalemate for a few minutes, and Mu Chongxi suddenly shouted, "Dinner is ready." Yi Qiao's eyes lit up. She was starving to death after standing for so long. In the next second, Duan Yu's merciless voice sounded, "You can only go to eat if you successfully attack me with the weapons in your hands." Yi Qiao paused while laying on her stomach. As a person, she could accept being beaten badly, but she couldn't accept being hungry. The girl quickly turned over and said sincerely, "Elder, after lying on the ground for a while, I suddenly feel that I can do it again. Do you think I still have a chance?" He glanced up and down at the black sheep, and said cheerfully, "Do you want to eat?" Yi Qiao nodded shyly. The next moment, without waiting for Duan Yu to make a move, she took the initiative to retreat a certain distance. After she was hit twice, she knew that Elder Duan didn't talk about martial arts at all, and would strike at the slightest disagreement. Duan Yu praised, "The response is very fast." Knowing that he was about to start beating her up, the girl took a brisk step, followed by stepping on the breeze, clenched her fists, and appeared behind Duan Yu in a dodge, punching the back of his head with a punch. "He's also very courageous," Duan Yu commented lightly. The man turned his head and held her fist with one hand, pulled it down forcefully, and at the same time swung his free hand fiercely towards her abdomen, but he didn't expect that Yi Qiao, like a slippery loach, twisted his body hard and turned around. Jumped from under his arms. Stepping on the breeze to open the distance, she touched the bamboo shoots on her waist, and carefully recalled the first move of the King Feng Ju. The movements were swift and decisive, and the swordsmanship was like a shadow, like a knife, and she stably slashed towards him. The speed of the white sword wind was too fast. Duan Yu didn't react in time, and he was really touched by Yi Qiao. King Feng Ju. Duan Yu recognized the sword formula she used, with surprise in his eyes. He doesn't remember that he taught her the first style of King Feng Ju, does he? Yi Qiao couldn't wait to rush to the cafeteria. I have passed the level, right? Elder. Duan Yu nodded with a complicated expression. It is no exaggeration to say that Yi Qiao is the most imitative disciple he has ever seen, but she can imitate almost every sword style he can do after watching it once. This is indeed a good seed, even if he is not motivated on weekdays, and he doesn't know who to learn from, this kind of life and death attitude, and the attitude of putting it on if he refuses to accept it is absolutely absolute. It's a pity that time is too tight. In half a year, no matter how good his talent is, he will be far behind those geniuses on the field. The group of arrogant people like Yi Qing'an all grew up in big families. With the accumulation of all kinds of heavenly and earthly treasures, how to use a sword in more than 10 years has long been engraved in his bones. And Yi Qiao was only half a year old. Forget it, I don't expect to get any ranking anyway. Qin Fanfan, who came to watch the battle, was very normal-hearted, just be safe. There are too many uncertain factors in the great secret realm. Even if all sects will dispatch to save people in case of danger, there are still uncertain factors. Duan Yu sighed. She has already learned the first move of King Fengjue. And when he asked Yi Qiao how she learned it, the girl's reaction was so annoying. That's right, I learned it when I watched the fourth senior brother use it. What else can Duan Yu say? He could only continue to beat his two dear disciples harder, trying to prevent them from being bullied too badly during the grand competition. This caused the two of them who were beaten up every time they came back from training to be disheartened. Zhu Yu looked at the miserable two-person group, and couldn't help but support his forehead. At the same time, he was very grateful that he was just a weak and unable to take care of himself. Otherwise, who can stand being beaten every day? Compared with the days when the two of them were in dire straits, Mingxuan also locked himself in the courtyard for several days without going out. According to Mingxuan's pissing behavior before, he would definitely watch the excitement of the two of them being beaten, but the quietness these few days is a bit too much. When Yi Qiao asked, she was told that Mingxuan was drawing symbols. I have been drawing for 3 days. When Yi Qiao was beaten, Mingxuan was drawing talismans. When Yi Qiao was sleeping, Mingxuan was drawing talismans, and when Yi Qiao was eating, Mingxuan was still drawing. She called out the good guy. Wan Wang is actually by my side. Yi Qiao stood at the gate of Mingxuan's courtyard and hesitated for a moment, considering whether to invite Mingxuan to have dinner together, but this seemed a bit too disrespectful to King Wan's efforts. Knocking on the door, Mingxuan saw Yi Qiao, little junior sister. Second senior brother. She looked at the talismans all over the floor. The sequelae of drawing talismans for the first time gave her a headache when she saw so many talismans. How long did it take to draw so many talismans? Why? Mingxuan smiled. You also came to persuade me to take a rest. Yi Qiao respected everyone's efforts. She shook her head, no. But second senior brother, there is still more than a month before Dabi, so there is no need to hurry. Can you bear not sleeping for 3 days and 3 nights? Mingxuan was silent for a moment, looking at his junior sister's puzzled eyes. He finally chose to speak truthfully. I want to break through the golden core. Ah. Yi Qiao was stunned for a moment. Are you in such a hurry to break through? Ming Xuan paused, rubbed her head vigorously, and said with a smile, hey, can you understand it as the pressure of a genius? Is this making fun of yourself with Elder Yu's words? Yi Qiao slapped away the hand that he took the opportunity to rub her head, not understanding why. Ming Xuan was slightly serious. Talented dogs are indeed enviable, but the pressure is also quite high. My family is a direct descendant of the 8 great families of Fushu. Oh. You should have known it early on. The 4 direct descendants of the Changming sect. Before you came, I was the one who practiced the fastest. He smiled. Foundation peaked at the age of 15, but since then, I haven't broken through again. My family thinks I don't work hard, and even my father often sighs when sending letters. He paused. There are 4 other taunts. Let Ming Xuan be stimulated and tormented all the time. Yi Qiao's arrival did make him feel better, but when he thought of coming to the competition site and facing the taunts from the other 4 sects, he felt a little tired. Ming Xuan knew that he had a problem with his mood, but he didn't know what to do. Yi Qiao was slightly stunned, and smiled. Okay. She realized. So the reason why Ming Xuan became possessed in the original book was that the co-author was stimulated by those rumors. If this is the case, Yi Qiao immediately has a solution. As the saying goes, the avenue is as simple as it is, and without desires you can be strong. If you know a mistake, you can correct it. If it doesn't work, you can fix it. As long as she is completely messed up, who would dare to point her out? Second senior brother. She sent out an invitation. Would you consider coming to play with me? Chevron understood. I saved the whole sect by playing badly. Chapter 38. Ah. Yi Qiao's topic jumped so fast that Ming Xuan couldn't keep up with her brain circuit for a while. Too bad. How do you mess it up? Yi Qiao looked at Ming Xuan's bewildered expression, and she smiled mysteriously at him. You will know when the competition is over. Ming Xuan was slightly startled. Seeing her confident appearance, he smiled helplessly for a while. Okay. Then I'll sleep first. I'll talk about it later. He has been stuck at the peak of foundation establishment for so many years, and it is true that he will not be able to break through in a short while. After comforting Ming Xuan, Yi Qiao breathed a sigh of relief, returned to her residence, picked up the cauldron and began to prepare the pills that could be used during the dabi. Practice makes perfect. After reading so many fragments, even though she is not a professional alchemist, she can at least be considered an amateur. She plans to practice some elixir. In the beginning, Yi Qiao failed a few times because of the first attempt, but then she gradually became proficient, the control of Lingji by the divine sense, and the number of Dan seals typed out. It was the first time to condense 9 pill seals, and Yi Qiao wanted to see if he could condense more this time. The pill seal was quickly drawn in her hand, and the golden lines revolved around her. After a while, she changed her gestures again, and then the 10th Dan seal popped out tremblingly. Compared with the first 9, it seemed much weaker. She didn't care about the stabbing pain for a moment, and calmly continued with the movements in her hands. As time passed, the Dan seal gradually solidified. Yi Qiao exhaled lightly, and opened the cauldron. 10 odd-shaped pills were quietly lying in the pot. Their color and appearance were still as unsightly as ever. She didn't plan to sell it this time, but bottled it up for emergencies. After installing it, the result of excessive consumption of consciousness was that Yi Qiao's nose dripped blood again. She wiped it off and fell asleep faintly. Ellipsis. The 5 sects are busy training their own disciples soon, so it is rare that no one comes to disturb them. Except for Zhou Exingyun, none of the 4 of them can escape the fate of attending classes. I heard that Yue Kingzong's new young disciple has broken through the golden core. Duan Yu said lightly. Qin Fanfan stroked his beard, and also got the news at the same time. He was deeply moved. Yes. That girl is 16 years old, Jinden. This talent is even better than other personal transmissions. I really don't know where Yoon Hen got the luck to bring back such a talented disciple from the mortal world. Duan Yu squinted his eyes, but he was also non-committal. After being hammered for more than a month, Elder Duan Yu finally let go of his two dearest disciples. He even gave them a vacation the night before the big competition, allowing them to play for a day and leave tomorrow to go to Floating City to compete. It was a rare holiday, so Yi Qiao went down the mountain non-stop and brought back the pistol she had asked her boss to make. The shape is very special, and there should be some special materials added inside, which is still different from modern pistols. Mu Chongxi couldn't wait to try it, but Yi Qiao didn't dare to play with him because of his previous action of blowing up the suzerain. She explained to him, this thing can store talismans, similar to a hidden weapon. The continuous firing of the silver needles of the Tang sect is a bit similar to this one. When the design was first given, the boss was always amazed at the ingenuity of this hidden weapon. Yi Qiao demonstrated it to him on the spot. Storing the talisman in it is not only fast, but also can be fired several times in a row. The talisman cultivators have a gap when throwing talismans, allowing people to dodge, but the hidden weapon in Yi Qiao's hand fired a few shots in a row, and the slow reaction was too late to dodge. Mu Chongxi was silent for a moment, and said sincerely, being a sword repairer really wronged you. It's a pity not to be an instrument repairer with this brain. Yi Qiao shrugged, this has nothing to do with me. It can only be said that he borrowed the wisdom of his predecessors. After trying the hidden weapon in her hand, Yi Qiao put it away and put it in a mustard bag, and the other senior brothers in the main peak hall gathered together and didn't know what they were looking at. Even the senior brother who usually lives in seclusion showed up. What are you doing? Yi Qiao looked around naturally. Zhu Yu held a jade slip in his hand and shook it. You guys came just in time. We're watching gossip. Gossip? Who? Zhu Yu stuffed the jade slips to her and motioned her to read for herself. Yi Qiao lowered her head and fiddled with the jade slips in her hand. The similarity with mobile phones is that they can communicate and talk. There is also a place similar to a modern forum. Click on it to see the messages of many monks. Pretty smart. This kind of intelligent jade slips can only be bought by wealthy monks. Mu Chongxi just wanted to teach her how to use them, but found that Yi Qiao flexibly clicked on them with her fingertips to check them. Just kidding, she has been using her mobile phone for so many years. If she didn't use this thing, she could go to Zisha. There are all kinds of forum posts, but the most popular and most discussed ones are speculations about the 5 great competitions. Post 1. Place the bet, make the bet, who will win the competition this year. Post, oh, I have Janzong Yi Kingen's underwear here, does anyone want it? Bid 100 high-grade spirit stones. Post, I heard that Changmingzong and Yuqingzong are facing each other next door. Close black lens bracket. All kinds of gossip emerged one after another. Yi Qiao's pupils quivered. Are Yi Kingen's underwear so valuable? Ming Xuan touched his chin. It seems so. 100 spirit stones. Then how about? Yi Qiao said with itchy hands. We'll beat him up at the competition, strip him naked, and sell his clothes and underwear on the forum. Zhu Yu couldn't figure it out. But why do we need Yi Kingen's underwear? They shouldn't be short of this money, right? Yi Qiao, that's why you don't understand. Underwear can not only be hung up for sale, but when it's time for the competition, we take out Yi Kingen's underwear, which can cause mental pollution to Yi Kingen and his enemies. Kill 3 birds with 1 stone. Mu Chongxi silently gave her a thumbs up. Absolutely. Little junior sister really dares to think. Even he couldn't do 10 tricks in Yi Kingen's hands. She wanted to pick up other people's underwear and hang it on the forum for auction. Zhou Exingyun originally didn't intend to participate in the conversation between them, so he was choked by Yi Qiao's outrageous speech. He lowered his eyes and couldn't help laughing. Finally, I know why Mu Chongxi resisted all opinions and let someone with mediocre qualifications like Yi Qiao be the personal heir. Only this kind of personality can get acquainted with the younger brothers and the others. The 5 of them gathered together, and the atmosphere was extremely peaceful. Tomorrow, they will all set off to Floating Life City to reunite with the other 4 sects. Except for Yi Qiao, no one is sleepy. Yi Qiao yawned, and simply fell asleep on the table. Mingxuan didn't sleep all night, saw her wake up, with dark circles under his eyes. He stuffed a set of red royal clothes into her arms. Come on, junior sister, quickly put on together, otherwise it will be too late to set off later. For what? She was a little confused. Zongfu. Mingxuan started to talk too much. The whole cultivation world was watching us during the competition, so we must get a Zongfu. As soon as Yi Qiao opened her eyes, she saw 3 senior brothers enthusiastically surrounding her. She leaned back tactically and asked sincerely, "That's why you dress like crayfish? It's called handsome." Mu Chongxi happily pulled Yi Qiao. Believe me, compared to other unlucky colors, our Zong uniform can definitely stand out and blind their eyes. This time Yi Qiao did not deny it. The red is conspicuous, and it can definitely stand out among a group of plain-colored imperial uniforms. Brother, do you want to change? She hugged her clothes, and looked at Zhou Exingyun, the only one among the 5 who hadn't changed his imperial uniform. Eldest senior brother. Mingxuan was stunned for a moment, looking at Zhou Exingyun, who was dozing off, with some hesitation. Just ask them, who dares to let Zhou Exingyun change with them? Zhou Exingyun was sad and indifferent on weekdays, causing many disciples to take a detour when they saw him, the kind that even Zhu Yu, who had a good temper, would not dare to come forward. Change it up. Yi Qiao had no sense of awe towards Zhou Exingyun. She even dared to pit Yi Qingyan head on. She waved her hand immediately. Brother, please wear it with us. Zhou Exingyun was stopped there by Yi Qiao. Facing the young junior sister's eagerness to try, he calmly refused. No. Eldest brother Tilda, Mu Chongxi leaned over. Please satisfy us. Mingxuan also nodded. You are the only one missing. The 4 looked pitiful, but they were quite tidy. Zhou Exingyun had a complicated look on his face, and had no choice but to change with his clothes. Most people can't suppress the ostentatious color of red, but Chang Mingzong's appearance is quite high, and the 5 of them standing there are a beautiful scenery. But Zhou Exingyun lowered his head and murmured, quietly uttering 2 words, ugly. There was a line on the Zongfu that was not aligned, which made Zhou Exingyun, a patient with obsessive-compulsive disorder, want to draw his sword and chop off the clothes. Mu Chongxi immediately said dog-leggedly, "It doesn't matter, no matter how ugly the imperial uniform is, it can't cover up the handsomeness of the elder brother." Yi Qiao. Add 1. Zhu Yu. Ditto. Mingxuan. 1. Zhou Exingyun was almost amused by the neat words of his juniors and sisters. Floating Life City is the territory under the foot of Zhanjianzong. The unwritten rule in the competition in the cultivation world is that whoever is the first will go to whose whole cards will be combined, and the one who won the first place 100 years ago is Zhanjianzong. It was not only the relatives who went together. Duan Yu, Elder Zhao, and Qin Fanfan also accompanied them. The 5 of them were called to the back mountain early in the morning, and there were many disciples who came to watch and join in the fun, all wanting to see the elegant demeanor of their personal disciples. A group of Wu Yaya's disciples were chattering about who is more handsome, and Yi Qiao saw an acquaintance from inside. It was Du Chun, who she met on the first day when she joined the sect. Seeing Yi Qiao looking over, he immediately waved to her enthusiastically. Yi Qiao. Long time no see. Yi Qiao yawned, trying to make herself look more energetic, and she replied, "Long time no see. How does it feel to be an in-person biography?" He rubbed his hands, gossiping, "Is it cool?" Yi Qiao looked calm. "It's okay. If you want to talk about it, it's better to be an outsider." She really thinks so. At least no one in the outer door will watch her training all the time. But now he is either being beaten, or on the way to be beaten. Other outer and inner disciples. This is Versailles, right? Definitely in Versailles. Chevron under Sect by playing badly. Chapter 39. Completely get to the happiness when the little junior sister is bad. Under the envious eyes of a group of inner and outer sects, Yi Qiao followed the large army calmly. The rich monks in the cultivation world use flying boats to travel, which can carry thousands of people at a time. Those who have no money can only bitterly ha-ha Eugean up. She has been in the realm of comprehension for so long, and she has never even seen what the flying boat looks like. Ming Xuan stood on tiptoe and looked around. According to the route, I should be able to reach sword asking school in the afternoon. Ming Xuan is undoubtedly a rich man. He has nothing new about Feizu, only Yi Qiao is curious about it. After the 5 people got ready to board the airship, Yi Qiao leaned against the barrier to watch the scenery outside, while the others lazily slept in their positions, which looked like a modern airplane. Qin Fanfan handed each person's jade badge to each other, poured spiritual power into it, and after it lit up, he said in a deep voice, "This waist badge represents your identities, and when the steward of Janzong came to arrange a place to live, give this to them. Just take a look." Yi Qiao took her own jade token and hung it on her waist. It was about the same speed as Ming Xuan's guess, and he didn't arrive at the destination until the afternoon. Compared with the bustling and prosperous Cloud City, Fusheng City has a sense of distance. There are few vendors, almost all of them are shops. Yi Qiao didn't dare to look around. She couldn't afford anything in Yunzhong City, let alone the shops at the foot of the first case. "Want to take a stroll?" Seeing Yi Qiao's curiosity, Ming Xuan said very understandingly, "I'll pay for it." Fushu is rich. Yi Qiao's eyes lit up. "Okay." Seeing this, Ming Xuan smiled, and led them into a shop. They were not the only ones who arrived at the destination this afternoon. The other 3 sects also disembarked at the same time. Ming Xuan didn't want to face the ridicule of those people for the time being. It would be good to take his junior sister to the shop. The things sold in the shop were all conventional magical instruments and elixir. Yi Qiao was not interested after a second glance. The main reason was that the price was high, which made her completely devoid of worldly desires. Even though Ming Xuan said that he would pay the bill, it was obviously not worth the price in Yi Qiao's eyes. Although she didn't know how to refine weapons, she still knew a little about alchemy. They were filled with low-level spirit pills, one of which cost 50 high-grade spirits. Why not grab it? Zhu Yu explained, because there are too few alchemy cultivators, a single elixir can be sold at a very high price, making it difficult for other monks to buy except those from big aristocratic families and big sects. Yi Qiao finally understood why her ugly elixir became popular. Because she is cheaper and more in quantity. She calculated that when she had money, she would definitely buy a pill stove. Although the one made from the cauldron was not too different from the pill stove, but because of its strange appearance, the price had to be lowered. After shopping around the shop, they returned to the residence arranged by Swordsmanship Zong while the sky was still dark. It's the kind of compound where people live in a mixed environment. Perhaps they were afraid that people from the 5 sects would meet and fight. The steward of Janjian Zong thoughtfully separated the residences of each of their sects, but they said they were separated, but they were actually separated by a wall. If you really want to fight, you can punch through the wall and start fighting. Yue Kingzong was arranged next door to us. Mu Chongxi inquired about the other arrangements, and threw the jade card away. I don't know what the steward thinks. I think he wants to make trouble. Speaking of the Chu family, Zhang Jianzong and Chang Mingzong have had a grudge for a long time, and they're waiting for the Dabi to meet. Yi Qing'an doesn't like to provoke troubles, but it doesn't mean that the other 4 personal heirs of Zhang Jianzong are good-tempered. Yi Qiao and the others had just returned from a stroll outside when they were stopped outside by 3 people they didn't know. The white ancestral uniform was embroidered with auspicious clouds, a sword was pinned to his waist, and he was dressed in linen and filial piety. Zhu Yu had a guess in his heart, asked the sword Sect. Oh, Chu Xingji smiled. Isn't this the personal transmission of Chang Mingzong? Why did we come here on foot to ask Jianzong? Are you so poor that you can't even afford a flying boat? Extremely provocative and insulting, exactly the same as Song Jian back then. Mingshuan's expression changed. You. As soon as he took a step forward, Chu Xingji smiled lightly. Ah, let me see. Isn't this Mingshuan? I haven't seen you for so many years. Chu Xingji paused maliciously. Haven't you broken through the golden core yet? It's a disgrace for Chang Mingzong to have a personal successor like you. I really don't know how a trash who hasn't even broken through the golden core is qualified to participate in the competition. TSK TSK TSK. Yi Qiao watched as Mingshuan gradually became silent. She understood why the second senior brother was anxious about Dabi in the first place, so that he lost his temper immediately afterwards. Mu Chongxi was so angry that he drew his sword and had a duel with him on the spot, but Zhou Xingyun calmly stopped him. Fighting is prohibited before the competition begins. Zhou Xingyun changed his previous silence and reminded, "Don't do anything, you haven't entered the secret realm yet." Yi Qiao accidentally understood the meaning behind the senior brother's words. So, can you do it after entering the secret realm? Chu Xingji did it on purpose. He was deliberately provoking this group of people. Anyway, Chang Mingzong is a group of brainless idiots. Enraged them before the big competition, let Mu Chongxi violate the rules, and the game points can be deducted in advance. Seeing how the members of Chang Mingzong dared not speak out, Chu Xingji curled his lips, and just wanted to continue to mock them twice, but stopped in the next second. Yi Qiao, who heard the movement, poked her head from behind the elder brother, and saw Chu Xingji and his personal biography behind him. She immediately smiled at them in a friendly way. Hi. Mu Chongxi, who was familiar with Yi Qiao's urination, subconsciously began to have a stomachache. According to what he knew about Yi Qiao, once she said, "Hi," there must be nothing good. Facing Yi Qiao's familiar greeting, Pei Xingji was stunned for a moment, disdainful. "You are the newly recruited junior sister in the early stage of Foundation establishment, right?" He spoke bluntly, one at the early stage of Foundation establishment and one at the peak of Foundation establishment, haha. The 2 wastes still want to come to participate in the big competition. Ah yes. Yi Qiao nodded sincerely and sincerely. You are right. Chu Xingji was inexplicable. Are you mocking me? Yi Qiao said innocently, "No. I agree with you. What you said is right. Is there any problem?" Yes, it's really no problem, because Yi Qiao really agrees with him. But Chu Xingji didn't know why he always felt that what he said just now was like punching cotton, light, and could choke a person to death. Chu Xingji endured the inexplicable grievance, and finally chose to continue to stimulate Mingshuan, who had the weakest psychological defense. It's good to know that I am a waste. Mingshuan hasn't broken the golden elixir for 3 years, and the last one in Almighty still has the face to participate in the competition. I blush for you. Mingshuan was quite angry at first, strangling his fingertips to death, but after noticing the reaction of the little junior sister, he swallowed his original retort, and changed the subject. It's me. He suddenly followed suit. I'm just a waste. Chu Xingyi choked. and was caught off guard by Ming Xuan's sudden words. Ming Xuan glanced at him lightly, and calmly said, "Our Changming sect is a bunch of trash, what should we do? If it doesn't work, just arrest us." Yi Qiao almost performed an applause for the second senior brother on the spot. "Isn't this similar to, what should I do? No, call the police." Wu Zong Dabi, Changming Zong left and they were still a fart. Chu Xingji's eyes widened. "Are you sick? How can anyone take the initiative to admit that he is a waste?" Ming Xuan imitated Yi Qiao's usual irritating appearance, and spread his hands slightly. "Then what should we do? We are the bottom one, and we are happy. We won't fight anymore. Is there any problem? If you know a mistake, correct it. If it doesn't work, let it go. You ridicule whatever you mock, we stand still." Seeing Chu Xingji's aggrieved expression of being choked and unable to speak, Ming Xuan's lips curled up slightly, and he completely got the joy of the little junior sister's bad performance. Chevron_left. I saved the whole sect by playing badly. Chapter 40 R. Changmingzong's new spellcasting gesture. Chu Xingji was so angry that he immediately rolled up his sleeves and wanted to fight Ming Xuan. As soon as he touched the sword, Yi Qiao raised his eyebrows and exclaimed in exaggerated tone, "Come and see, Asking Sword Sect has beaten someone." Chu Xingji was preempted by her move, so that the sword in his hand was not drawn, nor was it not drawn, and he froze there in such an embarrassing manner. "You." As soon as he spoke angrily, Zhu Yu next to him answered the words with a downcast face. "It's okay, it's normal for the powerful swordsman asking Zong to want to beat us weak." Chu Xingji almost cursed. Underdog. The 5 sects who can participate in the big competition are basically of the same strength. If it wasn't for the tens of thousands of years of the Changming sect, they wouldn't have been ridiculed so badly. Zhu Yu's TNT talk made Chu Xingji fall down with anger. Mu Chongxi rolled his eyes, clutched his chest in the right way, and said in a soft tone, "Yes, junior sister. You are new to me and you don't understand. You are as powerful as Sword Asking Zong. They just look down on each of us on average. It's okay. After so many years, I'm used to it. You Changmingzong people have added drama, right?" Chu Xingji's eyes widened. Mu Chongxi. He gritted his teeth and said word by word, "You have the ability to fight me. Who despises them?" And Mu Chongxi, wasn't he the grumpiest one before? Chu Xingji didn't know that this group of people had become like this through experience. He was about to go crazy, and the younger brothers and sisters next to him hurriedly pulled him back. "Second senior brother, calm down. Before the start of the big competition, you are not allowed to draw your sword fighting." The little junior sister reminded vaguely, "At that time, you will be locked up in the ground, and the game points will be deducted." Chu Xingji tried his best to calm down. "Don't be angry." The junior brother also hurriedly said, "What can we say to these trash? It won't be too late for us to enter the secret realm before we start." Chu Xingji was comforted. He pursed his lips, and looked at them bitterly. "Wait. I will never let you go." "Yeah, you're right. What you said really makes sense." Yi Qiao was not annoyed. She smiled and nodded, then said, "Then let's go to sleep." A lot of swordsmen asking school disciples who had just chatted and taunted were choked up again by her bad rhetoric. He couldn't hold his breath, and almost died of anger on the spot. After smoking the 7 orifices of Sword Asking Zong's popularity, Yi Qiao was afraid of being beaten, so she left the scene immediately. When leaving, Mu Chongxi almost jumped up. He danced excitedly. "Ha ha ha, it's a pity that no one else saw Chu Xingji's face at that time, and it turned green. I should have recorded it with a photo stone." Mu Chongxi was extremely regretful. They went down the mountain to practice and met Sword Asking Zong many times. During the period, friction was inevitable. Every time they fought, they never won. As a result, Yi Qiao's output made Chu Exingji so angry that he couldn't tell. He will also be labeled as arrogant enough to look down on other clan biography. Who has wronged him? Returning to her residence quickly, Yi Qiao pondered for a moment considering the previous conflict, and immediately asked someone to release the news. Sometimes the power of the masses is invincible, and if there are too many false rumors, they will naturally become true. So Yi Qiao found a few people and asked them to release the news that the sword-seeking sect personally despised the disciples of the other 4 sects. One night, with the fermentation of the matter, just like this, the news that Chu Exingji threatened to step on the other 4 sects during the Dabi was spread. Originally, it was just a friction between 2 sects, but it turned into a problem between 5 sects in an instant after being passed on like this. Are all Janjian sects so arrogant? Si Miaoyan's voice was a bit puzzled. Although they really have great hopes this year, it doesn't mean that the other 4 sects are vegetarians, right? How dare you? They just drifted like this before the competition even started. Who gave the courage to ask Janzong? Chu Exingji, who got the news. Who is it? Who is slandering him? When did he look down on the other 4 sects? The news spread so fast that even the elder of Janjianzong heard about it, and he immediately came to reprimand Chu Exingji with a cold face. If you look down on other clan biography before the game, who taught you of these? Chu Exingji opened his mouth. Isn't this the routine of mocking each other before the game? The elder's annoyance grew stronger. Then you can't trample on the faces of the other 4 sects. Not to mention other things. As for Zhou Exingyun of Changming sect, even our sect Yikingen can only be regarded as, with him. Dabi has spread this kind of talk about making enemies before it even started. Are you out of your mind? Chu Exingji was even more wronged. I didn't mock other sects. Who the hell is slandering him? Shut up, just stay here quietly before the big competition. Don't go out to discredit our sect. The elder lowered his face and reprimanded in a deep voice. It's okay for Chu Exingji to be scolded, and he was ordered not to leave the yard. He was even more angry, and he didn't understand how the good things developed into what they are now. Ellipsis. People with a bit of a brain quickly investigated the source of the rumors, and finally the senior brother of Chengfengzong found out, and he touched his chin. The news about Janwenzong threatening to step on the other 4 sects is said to be from Changmingzong's little brother. Junior sister spread it out. The man smiled thoughtfully. Oh, I think this year's competition will be very interesting. The Dabi was so lively before it started, wouldn't it be even more exciting after it started? Yi Qiao. Duan Hengdao was immersing himself in the study of the magic weapon in his hand. He paused when he was drawing, and his eyes lit up when he heard the familiar name. You know her. Elder brother squinted his eyes. Of course. Duan Hengdao made a gesture. Not only that, strictly speaking, I am also looking forward to her arrival. A middle-grade spiritual root, a brat who is only in the early stage of foundation establishment. He knocked on his junior brother's head and sneered. It's better to expect that little girl from Yue Kingzong to surprise us this year than to expect her arrival. It took just over a month to reach Jindan. That yunk is obviously not easy. The elder brother said with disgust. You are going out to practice, and your head is broken. Are you expecting a foundation? Duan Hengdao was dissatisfied and slapped away the elder brother's hand. That's not it. She's amazing. Duan Hengdao still can't forget Yi Qiao's coquettish operation. He gave his elder brother a vaccination in advance with a serious face. Anyway, we have to be careful of her when we enter the secret realm. The elder brother patted his head, sighed helplessly, and became more convinced that the younger brother was sick. Ellipsis. They reunited after jumping around all night, perhaps because of being maliciously spread rumors. The personal lineage of swordsmanship sect settled down, and after a 3-day rest, they headed to the secret realm they were about to enter. Across the courtyard before, except for Sword asking Zong, they basically didn't go out, and they didn't meet anyone. But after the reunion, it is inevitable to meet Yue Qingzong. Song Hansheng walked in the front. He hadn't boarded the flying boat yet. When he passed by Yi Qiao, he said maliciously, "You spread the rumor not long ago, right? Don't ask him why he knows. The Changming sect is all stupid and sweet, and only Yi Qiao is so shameless." Yi Qiao took half a step back, pretending not to hear what he was talking about, and said cautiously, "Why? The match hasn't even started yet, you want to get close to me?" Song Hansheng, who the hell wants to get close to you? Second senior sister. A familiar voice sounded. This time it was Yi Qiao's turn to have a stomachache. To be honest, when she wanted to piss someone off, no one could make her speechless. Only the heroine can do it. The familiar second senior sister was called out again by Yun Qiu, but this time there were 3 flower protectors by her side. I have to say, the charm of the heroine is infinite. Apart from Su Juo and Dai Chen, who had some relationship with the original owner, there was actually a man by her side in a protective gesture. Junior sister Yi Qiao. When Dai Chen saw that it was really her, his mood became complicated. It seems that the two haven't seen each other for more than half a year. The last time it was because of a mayfly plant. They went down the mountain in a fit of anger. It's just that what Dai Chen didn't expect was that she could actually enter the Changming sect. Still, in the identity of personal transmission, no matter how you look at it, it is a bit incredible. Wow. Mingxuan raised his voice sharply. With his hands on his chest, taking advantage of his height, he blocked Yi Qiao, and looked directly at Dai Chen. Don't you have any junior sisters yourself? Why do you look at our junior sisters with such disgusting eyes? Dai Chen's face turned cold. Mingxuan, don't think that you are the Ming family and I am afraid of you. Mingxuan was confident. Let's wait and see in the secret realm. Please stay away from my junior sister now, thank you. Yi Qiao. Su Juo, who had been silent all this time, opened his mouth. He stared at Yi Qiao for a while. Zhu finally accepted that the senior sister who grew up with him joined the Changming sect. His voice cooled down, and he pursed his lips and said, I hope you will not regret this decision. After entering the secret realm, I will not show mercy. Yi Qiao laughed mercilessly when she heard the words. It was the same as how much he cared about the original owner before. As long as anyone felt sorry for the original owner, he would not use the herbal medicine that the other party took so hard to please Yun Qiu. She grinned at Su Juo's words, smiled, and responded to his firm and powerful middle finger. Zhou Exingyun frowned, not understanding what her gesture meant. He listened for a long time, and finally understood the kindness and resentment between the little junior sister and Yue Qingzong, but he didn't interrupt. After all, his own affairs should be resolved by the junior sister herself. If he can't solve it, it's not too late for him to do it. Not only Zhou Exingyun didn't understand Yi Qiao's actions, but the other 3 also fell into deep thought. Is this a special spell casting gesture? No. If you lose, you don't lose, and as seniors, they also have to give face to junior sisters. So, the 5 members of Changmingzong raised their middle fingers at them. Everyone in the Yuqing sect. I don't know why, but I feel humiliated. What do you mean? Insulting us? Su Juo seemed to have seen Yi Qiao raise his middle finger before, and he did it to his master at that time. He always felt that this was not a good meaning. Yi Qiao's face was sincere and sincere. How could it be? This is our Changming sect's new spellcasting gesture. No. May I ask which sect is so hard to think about it? The gesture of casting the spell is to raise the middle finger. Chevron _ left previous home